Hey all you cool cats and kittens, my name is Ryan ROX, and this is ROX Talks. Alright, you may know my first guest as Tina, the girl who meets her unfortunate demise to gardening shears, spoiler alert, in Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning, and you'll soon know her as a director and one of the stars of the upcoming horror film 13 Fanboy. Please welcome to the show, Miss Deborah Voorhees.
Oh, thank you so much, Ryan. It is a blast to be on your show, and I'm honored that you asked. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you for joining us. So I know all this stuff's been going on with COVID-19, and you've been updating your fans a little bit on Facebook, as you normally do with the Deborah Voorhees Sheer Horror Group and your personal one. But how have you been holding up during these tough, strange times?
It's definitely strange times. I think, everybody struggles with this on some level. I'm just hoping for peace and love in the world, and us to all come together to help combat this and get out of our, I guess, the last several years of incredible infighting going on in this country. And I'm hoping that we have an odd thing that humans do. We gather together when there's a common enemy, and I guess I'm glad that the common enemy isn't a person right now. Right. And maybe we can find a way in our hearts to be a bit kinder and a bit more thoughtful and a little less judgmental, since we're all going through the same thing.
Yeah, and also in that sense, I'm also glad it's, not glad, but as far as having a light at the end of the tunnel, it's crazy how we do come together as cities when there's something like a mass shooting, as a country when it's something like 9/11, but really this is a worldwide pandemic, so maybe in general, as a whole, we'll be all better to one another.
Right. So yeah, no, it is interesting. We'll see. I know that, like all things, there good things will come of it and bad things will come from it. But unfortunately, it's where we're at, and I know it's scary for a lot of people. And if you're not at least a little bit scared, you're either in denial or don't understand the situation around you.
Right. It's unfortunate, but hopefully everybody will start realizing
that. Denial would be the best place to be.
Right. So you're in Ruidoso with your husband and your sister, right? And your doggies?
Yep. We all live in the same household.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, it has definitely been interesting. I mean, I enjoy being out away from things. As anybody who lives in this area knows that you're kind of far away from most things, and I live outside of town, so I like that. I like being away from things, but this is a whole different thing when you can't even really feel okay about going and getting groceries or basics or anything like that.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people have that tendency of wanting what you can't have, so it's like normally people wouldn't mind staying at home, but just the fact that you're not allowed to go out, or you got that fear in the back of your mind about going shopping or anything, is kind of making it worse.
Right.
So what have you been doing to pass the time?
Well, since we were finished with 13 Fanboy, we been editing, so a lot of my work is here at the house anyway. Plus, I'm somebody that I'm an avid learner. I'm passionate about learning new things every day, and so I've been spending time taking some online classes and things. Everything from color grading to storytelling to different things that can benefit me. I've also been doing a lot of research. I'm a longtime old journalist from the Dallas Morning News and the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, and so the journalist in me is definitely spending time studying and understanding what we're going through and what's happening. And it changes daily as we gather more information. And that's the one thing that I'd really like to encourage people is to learn how to gather data and understand that, what you may be reading right now is what we know at the time, but that information may change. So keep your mind open. Don't close it and think you know everything because you read one thing on the CDC one day. Keep watching, keep exploring, keep looking at it and trying to figure out where the truth is. It'll be quite a while. Also understand that truth takes a while to come out. Yeah. So expect a few years before we have enough data to really understand the true nature of COVID-19.
Oh, yeah, at the very least. Well, that's good advice, and it looks like you're spending your time wisely. I can't say this. I'm doing the same, but...
Oh, and I'm doing one other thing. I decided that we all needed something really fun to do during this, something that just takes your mind off of everything. Kind of had it in my mind for a while to do a series of books with just a series of short stories of people's experiences, with, things on the other side, whether it's angels or ghost stories or, conversations with people who have passed, whatever, it can be many, many different things, near-death experiences. And I'm just encouraging everybody to send in your little short stories. It can be, it doesn't have to be very long. I've got, basically, I'm saying do 1.5 spaces, 12 font, and no more than 10 pages. But, more like 2 or 4 pages is probably the best.
Okay.
Scenario. And so it's for fun and just something to get our minds off of it, because we all also, while we need to pay attention and be aware and understand the situation we're in, we also need some moments where we're completely away from it and doing something different. And it's kind of like those are just kind of fun things to do.
Yeah.
And plus, when you're talking about things that deal with death, I think it's important for us to have a little hope. And anytime we're talking about anything that has to do with life after death, I think gives people a little bit of comfort, even if it's a darn scary ghost story.
True. I was seeing that you were doing that. I feel like mine aren't necessarily interesting, but I do like... I believe in it, and I have definitely experienced my dad, who passed away when I was 16, just kind of coming to me in different ways, and so enough for me to know and have hope that there's something else after, and but yeah, nothing crazy like I think you're going for in your books, but I mean, I'm excited to read it and see what people
I
submit.
would love for you to consider doing something for it, because while one of the books may be boo scary stories, but I definitely want the kind that give people hope and encouragement to see the world in a brighter light and to be better people themselves. I mean, we all need that. I think we all struggle day to day. What can we do to be a better person today? What can we do to be a better person tomorrow? And those kind of stories that show light and hope, I think, are really good for that.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Well,
I hope you will think about it.
Yeah, I'll definitely think about it. I definitely love writing, so
Nice.
probably try and get a couple pages into you. Now, so speaking of, you mentioned your editing and learning stuff. You're currently in editing process of 13 Fanboy. We barely talked about 13 Fanboy, and I feel like we should talk about it more. So for those who don't know already, do you want to just give a summary of what 13 Fanboy is about?
Absolutely. 13 Fanboy is about a movie. It's about an obsessed fan stalking the women from Friday the 13th and Halloween. Our lead actress is Dee Wallace, and of course you guys know her from E.T., Cujo, Howling, and also Halloween. And then we have numerous people from the Friday the 13th franchise. myself, Judy Aronson, Ron Sloan, Lar Park Lincoln, Jennifer Banco, C.J. Graham, Kane Hodder, and I'm sure I'm missing some people.
Corey Feldman
came in town to do a cameo. So there's a lot of really neat things and neat people that we have. And Tracy Savage, she was wonderful to have on set, and I think I said Judy Aronson already.
Yeah, and Corey Feldman.
And Corey Feldman, and did I say Tracy Savage?
Yeah, just now, I guess.
Okay. So
lots of them, yeah.
Series, yeah. So, it's very scary thriller / horror / whodunit, because really until the very end, you really don't know exactly what's going on.
It sounds like so exciting. So I don't know how much I can say. I guess probably nothing unless you say something about what my part is in it. But just so my listeners know, you may be seeing me. I don't know, final edits and all that, but I definitely worked a couple days on.
Absolutely. Ryan was in a couple of different scenes in the film, and it was a blast having you on set. It was really cool. I was so glad that you came out and participated.
It was very fun for me as well. Thanks for having me. But yeah, I'm really excited about this film, as are tons of people. I can't believe, I think it's almost been 1.5 years now. Wait, I think, let's see, the last time I filmed, oh wait, no, that was last summer, so not quite a year. But let's see, when did you first have...
last July that we started shooting. We did 11 days in July.
Okay.
And 24 days in January.
Right. So when did you have the first inkling ever of the idea for it, and then you said you started shooting in July. So before July, when was the first time that you ever had a thought of doing this movie?
Well, it was probably about a year prior to that, maybe a little bit longer, that my producing partner, Joe Paul Reisig, and I were chatting, and we were chatting about a different film that we were looking at doing together. And he said he wanted to know what it was like with horror fans at like the horror conventions and stuff, and kind of wondering if it was a little on the scary side. And like, well, no, not at all. I said horror fans are, just really great, neat people. They, think of them as, grown-up kids who love to play dress-up. And I mean that in the kindest possible way.
Yeah.
Just very fun-loving kind of thing. And he said, well, nothing ever scary happened. I said, not really at a convention, but I have had a couple of times that made me a little bit nervous outside of conventions. And one of them was somebody sent me a message on Facebook and basically said, wouldn't it be cool if you died in real life like you did in Friday the 13th?
No.
And yeah, I'm going, no, it's not on my list to die with garden shears through the eyes.
Not too cool, no.
No, definitely no. Absolutely not. And so I blocked that person, and as far as I know, they never bothered me again unless they changed their name and refriended me and decided that wasn't the question to ask.
Right. Oh my gosh.
The other one that really troubled me was came to my personal phone, and somebody sent a series of texts basically claiming to be the, Jason the killer, and claiming to be watching me right that moment. And that was definitely disturbed me. I blocked that person. Nothing else happened other than that, but it still was an uncomfortable thing. Probably just somebody pulling a prank, thinking it was funny, but it wasn't funny.
And that happened to one of your stars that was almost a star, and now she's not in the movie, right?
Well, we actually had several people who were stalked in the film. One of them was Adrienne King, and she did end up backing out. We tried to fit a couple different roles to her that we thought might work for her. but ultimately, in the end, she decided against it. Then Judy Aronson, she had a stalker, and so did Laura Park Lincoln.
Wow.
So after I told my producing partner about that, that's when he said, that's our movie. And I was like, oh, hell no. Not our movie. That's scary real life.
Yeah.
And, but then after literally having several sleepless nights, I decided if it's scaring the shit out of me, this is a great movie.
Yeah.
We need to do this. And so I called him back and said, let's do it. And we took the next 3 months and wrote basically 30 pages of extremely solid scene by scene by scene by scene, where I knew, what each scene was accomplishing, what the goals were, and all the plot points. And then after that, I took, for the most part, and finished out the script. Joel took a couple of the scenes and handled fight scenes and stuff like that, but I handled the rest. And, it was great, because once we had the 30 pages done, I knew where everything was going, and it was a piece of cake from there.
Yeah.
So he was a great writing partner and stuff, and I think what we've done is really put together something that shows the actors as human beings and some of their struggles in life. It's let me see, how do I explain this? Each character in the film is playing themselves. They're fictionalized versions of themselves, but there's truth to each of the characters, to who they are, and on some kind of level.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, Kane Hodder. He's played the role of Jason Voorhees 4 times in the films. He was also Victor Crowley and in the Hatchet series, and so he's very often, people want him to be the monster, but he doesn't have a chance to be an actor of man as much. And so we bring some of those elements into it, and you'll find them along the way, and with each of the character, that there is some truth in each part of their characters.
I like that. I feel like that's kind of like a fun way for the fans to get to know the people a little bit more, especially, I know you probably know this the most, that the people that play Jason are probably like the sweetest people in real life, even though they're like such intimidating looking people on film, like CJ Graham. CJ Graham was just like the sweetest guy in the world, and not intimidating at all, just like once you start talking to him. So
yeah, a couple different things really struck me. One is, you're absolutely right. For both Kane Hodder and C.J. Graham, both of them were an absolute pleasure to have on set. A couple different times, Kane wasn't comfortable with a couple of things of dialogue that he felt were too harsh and not thoughtful and caring enough, and so he wanted to change them to fit himself more. And I thought that was really neat. I really admired that. And then when I was talking to CJ, he is an absolutely monster of a man. He's huge. I gave him a hug, and I swear it hurt my head because so solid muscle.
Right.
And in fact, I've never ever hugged anybody that was that, just like hitting a brick wall.
Yeah.
And he made a couple comments. He said that because of his size and everything, that people are often intimidated by him, and so he has purposely speaks softly, so not to frighten people and to put them at ease.
Aww.
I thought, wow, that's pretty sweet.
Right. That's great. So let's see. Riley is in the editing process. If at all, how do you think COVID-19 is going to affect the film? Is it helping him have more time to sit down and pay more attention to it? And also, is all this? I know things are shutting down, like movie theaters, and you're aiming for a wide release. Do you think it's going to affect the release date or how it's going to be distributed?
At this time, I honestly don't know the answer to that right now. Since we're still in the stage of editing, we want to have that theatrical release. Will this affect it? I don't know the answer. It is possible that it could help us because people aren't making movies right now. And so we've already had our shot and we're making it and getting it out there. Or will it make it more difficult because people aren't getting out and going to the movies? I can't tell you. I don't know yet. Right now, the only way that it's affecting us in the editing room is that Riley and I are co-editors, with him being the lead editor, and not being able to be in the same room to work on things does slow us down a little bit.
Yeah.
Not horrible, but it does a little bit. It also, I had my computer break on me, and where it's taking longer to get the problem resolved because of the situation we're in right now.
Yeah.
It's definitely hasn't done anything major that's going to keep us too terribly slowed down.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. So, yeah, I just wanted to know. I guess I didn't think about that, being that nobody can film really right now. So yours might be ready to go by the time, hopefully, everything gets somewhat back to normal, or as normal as it can be.
Yes, we're definitely hoping for that.
So let's see. I remember listening in an interview that you said you were going to use all practical special effects. So for our listeners, could you describe kind of the difference between practical special effect and something like CGI, and why you wanted to go that route that you did?
Yeah, CGI is going to be anything done in the computer, and practical effects is going to be, it's basically you film it and it's in the camera and you make the cuts and the shots so that in the edit it looks realistic. And that means you bring on fantastic special effects artists, and we have Nora Hewitt and Meg Wilbur. Both of them are very talented, and they are both from the 9th season of Face Off.
Yeah. That's actually going to be my next question about them.
Yeah, they. If you don't know who, I know you do, but if anybody listening doesn't know what Face Off is, that's a reality-like TV show where the best in special effect artists get together and compete to win. And so we definitely had some incredible talent. Nora won the 9th season and did a fabulous job for us.
Yeah, and I actually, Meg and Nora did a challenge together on one of the first episodes of their season, and they put Vivian Panay from RuPaul's Drag Race in a zombie drag for her wedding.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of a cool side note.
Yeah.
So yeah, with practical special effects, can you give me an example? I know what it is, but I guess it's kind of for our listeners that don't know but have definitely seen it before, how that's done.
Practical effects would be, let's say you have a knife and you want to make it look like it's going through the body, and you want the blood to actually be spurting out in real time, as opposed to having the knife, you might have in computer generated, you might have the knife going toward the body, and then it's a computer generation to make it look like it's bleeding and cutting and that sort of thing. Whereas in practical effects, you would dress the body, or you would get, corpse body and show the knife piercing the corpse body.
That's awesome.
Obviously not a real corpse. I'm talking about a dummy.
Right. I was just watching part 5, which you are in. And I think there's a part where Jason comes from behind. Well, I guess it's not Jason, but the killer comes from behind, and he's like gonna slit his throat, and the camera just cuts to another shot of Tommy, and it was like a cool special effect, or a practical effect that I enjoyed. But I'm excited to see all the ones that you're doing, because you're doing nothing but practical effects, basically, right?
Correct.
Awesome. Let's see. So we were talking about all the amazing, not only Friday the 13th alumni, but other stars as well that you've joined together to make this great cast. Did you already know them, or through horror conventions, and did you just individually ask them, or how did you recruit such a great cast?
Right. No, I really didn't know too many the people. I met them here and there and stuff, but it's, anytime you accomplish something like this, you go out and you meet the people. Interestingly enough, Dee Wallace and we had the same agent when I started out, and she has the same guy now. And Michael Edelstein, sorry. And anyway, you just pick up the phone and you make the call. My producing partner talked to different people, and you put out your offers and you pitch them the script and have them take a look at it, and we just did it kind of the old-fashioned traditional way. And I have to say, working with Dee Wallace was an absolute honor. She's a brilliant actress and amazing to work with.
Oh, yeah. Tara was... if anyone doesn't know, I guess I didn't really bring that up earlier, but Tara Krueger, who we'll have on the show later, was with me, and she was definitely fangirling over, or should I say fanboying over Dee Wallace on set. So that's neat. So I know we both got to meet her briefly, and that was really nice, but she seems like a really talented and nice person.
Has a very kind heart, that's for darn sure.
All right. Let's see. Just a couple more questions. I know it's been 30 minutes. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Let's see. Just one little fun question. The Friday the 13th films are known for their high death counts. Even though it's not officially a Friday the 13th film or a fan film even. It's its own standalone horror film. Can we expect a high death count?
I would say that we have a pretty high death count, yep.
All right, that's what we want here. And
we definitely use quite a bit of blood, that's for sure.
Oh my God, I'm excited. And you've raised almost $100,000 now on Indiegogo. I checked, and I think it was at 98 plus.
Right.
And there's still an opportunity to contribute and get something in return. I think you can still get your name in the credits and a DVD maybe. Do you want to tell the people about that?
Yeah, you absolutely can. There's several possibilities out there to still be involved, and every bit continues to help us. We didn't just have the funds from Indiegogo, we also had investors, and because we couldn't have made the movie for that, at least not the movie that we've made now, with all the special effects and all the name actors and stuff that we've had in the film. We wouldn't have been able to accomplish it. But yes, you can still participate, and it'll still help us quite a bit. There's some possibilities to be executive producers on the film, and invitations to the opening party and all kinds of stuff.
Fun. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to add that link to everywhere that you can listen to this podcast. And if there's anything else that you want to add that I may have missed.
Not that I can think of right now. I have to say I've really enjoyed shooting in New Mexico. The New Mexico Film Office has been very helpful to us, and just the people of New Mexico are pretty spectacular. I love, we're a small state as far as, the number of people in it. I mean, the entire number of the state is smaller than the size of, your big cities. But there's a lot of talented people here, and I really encourage you, if you're acting or do camera work or any kind of work that you do in the film industry or that you want to do, make sure that you get in touch with me and let me know what you're doing, because, I'm going to keep making films here, and I would love to work with more and more New Mexicans.
Yeah, that's great. Honestly, you were like so nice to have me twice, and you were actually my first on camera audition that I've ever done, so that was amazing for me to do it for you. Hopefully I wasn't too bad. but thank you so much for the opportunity and for what you're doing with the horror genre and film in general in New Mexico. I really appreciate you, and you're such a sweet person, and I'm just really glad I met you, Deborah.
Well, thank you so much. I am so thrilled to have met you as well. And, auditioning is quite nerve-wracking. It's one of the most difficult things that you'll do. And I would like to do more acting for film and audition-type workshops to help people really get that nailed down and to understand and learn what they need to do to work on camera. And have more and more people here locally. We hired a lot of New Mexican actors, and I had other roles that I could have put some New Mexicans in that I just wasn't able to find enough people to do them. So I know they're out there. It's a matter of meeting them and also getting everybody trained and ready to go to do the roles.
Right.
So I would, if anybody's interested in me coming and doing a workshop with 5 to 10 or 20 people or something like that, I'm happy to do that, and I will be putting some together myself.
That sounds exciting, and you're kind of in the perfect in-between between Albuquerque and Las Cruces, so I'm sure people would be willing to drive down to experience something like that.
Right. Well, and if I have, 20 people who want to do a weekend workshop or something, I can definitely come to Albuquerque or somewhere else for it.
All right. Well, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, and continued success in editing 13 Fanboy, and I can't wait to hear more when it gets a little bit closer, and hopefully everything has passed over. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ryan. I so appreciate it. When this is all over, let's get together, and I'm going to get a giant hug.
Oh, for sure. And you can follow...
I need some hugs right now.
Oh, I need one too. You can follow Deborah on her Facebook horror group. It's Deborah Voorhees Sheer Horror Group. And you can join there and keep in contact with Deborah. Alrighty. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
When I was a kid, my dad used to lock me in the basement when I was bad. And the only thing I had to keep me company was a stack of VHS tapes. Friday the 13th, the entire saga.
The blue bikini.
You were my family, and so I wrote and I wrote, but you never wrote back.
When I'm with you, no one can hurt you. You're safe.
Okay.
I got you.
I'm so sorry you had to die. All right, my next guest is already on the phone with us. I've known her for a minute. We'll talk about that in a sec. She's from El Paso, Texas. She's performed with me multiple times. She's the sweetest psychopath and the hood rat Elvira. Ladies and gentlemen, from El Paso, Texas, please welcome to the show, Tara Krueger.
Hey, cool. What's up?
Hi. How are you?
I'm fabulous. Just all over the place today.
Oh, really? Let's see. I just got off the phone with Deborah. I know we kind of had some mix-ups. We are going to have you and her, but it just worked out where we can have our own one-on-one time. But let's see. We talked about the movie a lot. We didn't really talk about our parts. I really kind of gave her that, like, edge of, hey, if you want to tell people, like, what we did. But so I really don't know if we're allowed to go into detail because she didn't really go into detail. But
Me being thirsty for Jason.
okay, well, we did talk about that. We talked about you being, let's see, being a fanboy of D. Wallace.
Oh my god, yes. I love D. Wallace. I grew up watching Critters and E.T.
Yeah, that was a fun moment seeing that. The real little fangirl.
I was, and then I was wearing those giant hooker heels.
Yes.
And I totally almost ate shit because I almost tripped over something when I walked up to her.
Oh my god. Yeah, and then I hit Deborah in the picture, which I didn't know until after I took the picture with her, with my object on my head. I don't want to say too much. I haven't even posted any of those pictures because I don't know if I'm allowed to. But yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, and then she said something about how when she first met CJ Graham, it was like the equivalent to hugging a brick because he's so ginormous. And she was talking about how he's so big. And I'm like, yeah, because even Tara in her ginormous heels was like
He was still tall.
looking up at him.
Because I didn't realize how tall he was. Although he was still taller than me in those heels, like those heels give me like a good extra like foot and a half.
Yeah.
So like I kind of like took them off and realized how like much shorter I actually am. I was like, damn, he is a giant.
He is ginormous. But yeah, so we filmed that in January in Ruidoso.
Was it January? Damn, it feels like not that long ago. Well, it's not that long ago, but it doesn't feel as long as
Right.
it is.
I mean, I can't even tell you what day it is, so this whole time is kind of going by weirdly. How are you doing, by the way, with all this? Have you been cooped up, or what have you been doing to pass the time?
I am isolated right now. I'm kind of on my own, but I don't mind it too much. I have honestly, like before, like we really went on a shutdown, I went out and bought a bunch of like furniture. So like I did like this whole like massive like declutter and clean, and like I actually have room now, like to move. So it's been pretty good. But now that like that's all over with, and we're like more on quarantine, I spend my day like watching crap on Hulu, Netflix, or YouTube, and playing Switch. Other than that, like video chatting with friends is like what's keeping me like sane at the moment.
Right.
And online ordering, I've ordered so much useless shit right now.
Oh my god, I'm like so nervous about doing that, like, because I mean I'm gonna just blow through a stimulus check, so I'm like trying my best. Well, I haven't either, but apparently today people started getting them, so that's exciting.
Oh, you know what? I should check. I haven't even noticed.
Oh yeah, I
but
checked
honestly,
for
like,
sure.
Right now, I'm actually, for the first time in my life, I'm essential because
Ooh.
I am still working because I do work in the medical field. So I have not stopped working yet. That's also what's keeping me from like totally like losing my mind.
Well, thank you for being essential. You've always been essential to me.
Oh, thank you.
How long have we known each other? I feel like it had to have been before our first show, which I am not even sure what it was, but I'm thinking it was Milk.
It was possibly Milk. I remember kind of meeting you when you brought Willem for the first time.
Oh, okay.
I met a few people. I met Elizabeth Diani at that show as well, I think.
Yeah, okay, and you just sent me a picture from Willem, which is a very fun throwback.
Oh, my God, do not share that.
I will not share it, but Well, I'm going through my
Yes.
throwbacks, and I can't even with myself. Like, what were you doing, Ryan? No.
But at least yours was makeup and stuff you could wipe off. Mine was like, it was before my weight loss, before I had all the work done. I looked insane in my eyes. Anyway.
Now you just look like a normal person, and now you're the best version paid for of yourself. The paid for version of yourself.
And in case of an emergency event, my face can be used as a flotation device.
Yes. See, I love when people say, like, well, I haven't really experienced it personally yet, but, like, if someone were to ask me if my teeth are real, I would just be like, yeah, because I bought them.
Of course it's real.
They're
I bought it.
fucking real. So, yeah, we did Milk and Max.
Yes, and Trixie. Did you bring Trixie?
I did bring Trixie, yeah. So, Trixie, too. Yeah, I remember that flyer, because you were pink on it.
Oh my god, that's right.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I guess originally when I started bringing people, it was kind of whoever asked. I didn't really know people. I didn't know the drag scene. I wasn't even 21 years old yet.
I know you like popped out of nowhere because I remember like it being like brought to you by Ryan ROX, and I was like, who is she? I haven't heard of her yet. And then like I saw you, and I was like, oh my gosh, she is a child.
I was a child. That's why you didn't know me, because I couldn't even get into the bars to get to know people. But so the first few shows were kind of like random ass like group of peoples, and then let's see. Then I think that's when I met Akasha. I saw her dance, and I was like, I'm in love, being everyone in my shows, which she was. But she kind of really took me under her wing and made me her drag daughter, and I started meeting more people, obviously, at the shows. And so when it came time to bring Milk, I was like, okay, there's a weird girl, and there's kind of a weird girl scene, which there was and is.
Because of that Milk show, I actually like almost got kicked out of the club because they were so upset with the performance I did.
Oh my god. Wait, is that the one we were just talking about? With the blood and the dildo and...
I did, like, it was a mixture of, like, Silence of the Lambs and Hedwig and the Angry Inch. So during my performance, I had a prosthetic dick on, and I had my friend dressed up as a nurse and chop it off. But what made them mad is that the entire prosthetic was filled with blood. So I was sprayed with blood, the stage was sprayed with blood, and there was just a mess everywhere.
Oh my god.
And then to top it off, I was wearing a fake vagina under that, so when I started, like, picking at it and pulling stuff out of it to throw into the crowd, it was just making a mess.
Oh my god.
And in the video, I wish I still had the footage, you could see the owner in the back, like, shaking his hands, like, stop.
Oh my god. Well, that's so funny, though, because I thought I was, like, getting in... Well, I kind of did get in trouble, but because I was who I was, I guess. Like, with confetti cannons and shit like that, they would just clean up after me, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not cleaning it. You do it. But I can't imagine with a bunch of blood and shit on their stage.
That was funny. I remember, like, that was one of my favorite shows. That night, too, I was also wearing a prosthetic, like, chest piece that was, like, fake rotten boobs with the fake rotten vagina. And I remember, like, I forget that I'm wearing that because, you know, drag, you're wearing layers and layers of stuff. And although, like, it looks like a vagina and boobs I'm wearing, I don't realize that that's hanging out. So I remember I stepped out into the front of the club and was smoking with one of my friends.
Oh, my God.
And a police officer came out, and they were like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, it's totally fake. And then the minute I spoke, they kind of like, oh, it's a dude.
Oh, my God.
I needed to step back inside and put something on, or I could be arrested for indecent exposure.
No way.
City block.
That's hilarious.
That whole night, I was just getting in trouble and be messy.
Well, that sounds like you.
Exactly.
Very on brand. So yeah, we've known each other a while. And then yeah, we kind of just got to know each other a little bit more. We drove to Rio Doso, which is like 2.5 hours, and we
was like our spooky version of Tuong Fu.
It was fun, and we listened to a lot of Nicole Byer and inspired this podcast.
Honestly, like, I've been obsessed, especially this quarantine. I've been trying to catch up and listening to all her podcasts. Like, she's so funny.
I caught up on there, and so now I'm like, I have to wait a week. But that was around that time that I was like able to listen to like 100 episodes, and then now I'm like, I gotta wait a week every time. But she has like, I'm not even kidding, I think 5 podcasts.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, the one we've been listening to is the Why Won't You Date Me? And
Yeah, that's my favorite one. But yeah, it's like she has an idea of like any kind of thought about something and she makes a podcast with it. She can do no wrong. But yeah, let's see. When we went to Ruidoso, we got pizza and we watched horror movies and we kind of just caught up on the past years.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Like, I love the cabin. It was so peaceful, and a bitch like me always loves some fucking pizza and makeup, and that was pretty much the whole trip.
Yes.
And then, of course, getting to, like, hang out with, like, all the, like, the horror, like, cast that we did. It was super fun.
Oh my god, yes it was. I guess everything's good to go. They're still editing, and she's not sure about...
Finished?
Huh?
Has filming finished?
Oh yeah, filming is completely done, which is good, so...
I'm excited. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, so they're editing, and I think they were aiming for October or a Friday the 13th in November.
Ooh,
And so hopefully, Deborah said she doesn't really know yet, like, if this is going to affect it at all, because maybe things will be better, back to normal, but hopefully it'll be out by the end of this year.
I hope so. I can't wait to see it. We're going to look so tea in it.
Yes, I'm excited, especially if it goes to, like, theaters and it goes to, like, the Draft House. We definitely have to go.
Bitch, that would be everything. That's like, finally, Ryan Rox on the big
On the big screen, yes. From getting kicked out at clubs to on the big screen. Oh my gosh. So let's see.
Jumping on CJ. I'm sorry?
So jumping on CJ, yeah. Oh wait, yeah. I didn't want to bring this up to Deborah or anything on the show, but I think it's funny. That CJ Graham was a Chippendales dancer.
I know. Once I found that out, I was like, girl, yes. That's why, like, well, I don't want to give away anything from the movie, but when you see the movie, that's why I do what I do in my scene.
I mean, yeah, you guys are gonna love the movie. It's great. Let's see. So yeah, I wanted to talk about. We usually talk about Drag Race, so I'm usually with Lisbeth. But oh shit, I have to. Never mind. There'll be a contest at the end of this episode that I will be announcing. I forgot on the last episode, Lisbeth decided to have a contest, and so I have the winner, and so I'll announce that later. But yeah, since we normally talk about Drag Race on the show, let's talk. I think the last episode that we haven't talked about on the show is the one where Aiden Zane went home. So
Bye, bitch.
I was gonna say, apparently we had a pre-interview, and apparently you don't like Aiden. And I guess originally she was advertised as the weird girl. She really wasn't that weird.
No, I think a Crystal Method is weirder.
Yeah. I think I could see Crystal Method being on Dragula before Aiden Zane.
Right? Honestly, like, with Aiden, like, I don't, like, hate the bitch. I'm just unimpressed by the bitch. I keep, like, the whole, like, time she was on the show, she kept on being like, I'm spooky, I'm weird. And I'm like, okay, then when are you going to show it? Because you haven't done it yet. Like, where's the spook, girl?
Even her scream at the end, it was like, okay, that wasn't even scary. It was not even as powerful as Sasha Velour's scream.
Exactly. I was just like, oh, honey.
I thought she was going to spill all the tea, like, I'm not going to leave the quiet bitch, like, Britta's doing this, and Sherry did this. Like, I thought she was going to go in.
I'm so upset that Rock'em Sock'em went home. It totally should have been Britta and Aiden in the bottom of that episode. I feel like Rock'em had so much more to show than both of them, and the season would have been a lot more fun with her in it. But she got sent home early, and I was actually really, really disappointed by that.
I was very surprised.
He was eye candy for me, and he was, like, pretty fucking talented.
Did you see her infamous tape?
I did.
Oh, okay. So that's why you like her. Just kidding. I feel like you could tell she was packing in both sides of her, even on the show. So I wasn't surprised.
Friend had actually just sent that to me, and with, like, no, like, contact. I just opened it, and I was like, is that
same? I think everybody got it that way. It was like all the gays sent it to all the gays, and everybody just kind of had understanding. Okay, that happened. What's next?
Yeah. I was like, all right, that's
All right. Well, I actually have to go. I'm so sorry. I really want to have a full-on interview with you the next time that you're able to. But thank you for talking to me, and we'll talk soon, yeah?
Yeah, I'll be free Friday.
Friday, okay, cool. Well, let's set up another interview, and you'll be on the next podcast as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I will be. Yeah, we'll discuss. I'll give you my schedule when I'm free again.
For sure. And I'll put every link to you to follow you online, social media, and of course on your YouTube channel.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tara.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey ghouls, Tara Krueger, the sweetest psychopath you'll ever meet, and if you like blood, violence, and freaks of nature, then this is definitely the place for you. Subscribe to my channel. We talk about true crime, horror movies, and we just play with makeup. So if that's something up your back alley, subscribe to this channel, hit that bell for notifications, and follow me on Instagram, and we'll be seeing each other real soon.
Well, hello. Are you in the Las Cruces area and interested in learning how to pole dance? If yes, then you are listening to the right podcast. I'm Brittany, and I'm a pole fitness instructor. I've been teaching in El Paso for the past few years and have finally decided to bring pole fitness to my city, Las Cruces, New Mexico. I currently offer both individual and group private lessons. This means that we can train one-on-one, or you can bring a friend or 3 with you. I'm also available for bachelorette parties and special events. I love working with new people and creating lesson plans that are tailored to each of my students' desires and needs. I'm also trained in handstands, flexibility, and floor work if you'd like to focus on building strength in additional and complementary ways. Pole dancing is for everyone. No experience is required, and absolutely all skill levels are welcome. If you have any questions or would like to schedule a lesson with me, please call or text 575-640-0699. I look so forward to hearing from you and being part of your pole dance journey.
All right, and now me and Lizbeth are going to finally give away our Facebook contest LD jewelry, and we're going to call our winner right now, right, Lizbeth?
I'm so excited, yes. It's good news to the queen.
Thank you, everyone, for entering. But Lizbeth picked a winner from one of the entries, and they just were more captivating than everyone else, I guess. I don't know your process of how you picked, but we're going to call him right now.
Let's do it.
Lennox.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, what's up? Well, good news for you today. Ooh, I like the sound of that. Ryan, you say it or I say it?
You can say it.
Okay, Lennox, you are the winner of the giveaway for the jewelry LD Jewels today. You are the winner.
Yay.
You're gonna be able to help me make your set. So it's gonna be inspiring you. So we please stay in touch with me so we can design something really cute for you. I love that. Yay.
Awesome. Thank you so much for listening to ROX Talks, and we're happy we could do that for you. Thank you, Lizbeth, for giving out some of your amazing jewelry.
No, thank you guys for having me, and congratulations, Lennox. I hope you rock, and send me some pictures, okay? Love that. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, for sure. Just get in touch with Lizbeth, and she'll hook you up. And you can also, for the listeners, get your own LD jewelry by going to Facebook and liking LD jewelry and messaging Elizabeth Diani for your very own set.
Exactly. Hope to see you guys soon. I love you all, and let's get stickity.
All right. Thank you, Lennox.
Bye.
Bye. Alrighty, that does it for this episode of ROX Talks. I want to thank my guests, Deborah Voorhees, Tara Krueger, Elizabeth Diani, and our contest winner, Lennox. Be sure to tune in every time I post. Technically, it's free for all with this quarantine, so you never know. But definitely follow me on all social media accounts so you know the next time there's a new episode of ROX Talks. Bye.